Good morning. It's Renny Doyle podcast. This is Renny, and good morning, Chris. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm a little confused. I don't know what day of the week it is anymore.
Oh, no, exactly. Right? It's Groundhog's Day, you know?
My routine's been messed up.
Yeah. Well, today, so why Tuesday instead of Wednesday? We're throwing a kind of a curve at everybody, is that we got a really big week ahead of us, and tomorrow is a travel day for me. And then also, probably the main reason is I've got a buddy of mine. So what does SR-71s and U2 spy planes have in common with this podcast?
Oh, for me,
No, this guy right here. No, we're just we'll get into it here in a second. But we'll explain what SR-71s and U2 spy planes have got in common with this podcast. But so what big week ahead. We've got Jersey Weekend is one of the events. So it's a bummer that you're going to miss that.
You're going to, I think you're taking a little side trip to Virginia, you said first, and then Jersey.
Yeah. So I get to go and meet our first granddaughter I'll get there Wednesday, early Thursday morning, about 1 a.m. So I'll get to see my baby, our daughter, and our son-in-law, and then meet our granddaughter. So pretty excited about that. And then I travel to kind of exciting too. I'm taking a road trip. So I'm going to drive from Virginia to New Jersey, which I haven't driven in that part of the country, distance. So it's about a 7-hour drive. So it's going to be kind of cool. And then go down to Jersey Weekend. We've got a Mafia event that we haven't been able to have for a couple of years because of all this bullshit. And now we're going to have it. So that's why we're here on a Tuesday versus a Wednesday. And we are. It feels like it just feels like, I don't know. It just doesn't. It feels weird. It's funny how your time clock works, on all days. But we didn't want to skip one for you guys. So here it is. And Duane's here. And so, so real quick, what's on the T-shirt?
Oh, it's an Alfa Romeo today. I haven't gotten a new one of these in a while. They haven't had any designs that have spoken to me in about a month or two. So, but anyway, it's a cool Alfa Romeo. Got a shot of the rear of it. So I like it.
I just got a new shirt, but I couldn't wear it today. So I'm wearing a Mafia shirt. So these are cool though. This is a limited edition, but I could. The one I just got, I can't get. Excuse me.
You can't wear it.
Wear it.
Too naughty.
For some people.
Too
Put it this way, it's got a hashtag that's going around right now that some people would, not dig. So I just didn't wear it.
All right. Well, maybe you could wear it on the airplane tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I'd probably get kicked off. I think I'd probably get kicked off. So I'm going to introduce this guy. Duane's one of my good friends from Idaho. He's here visiting us, and his wife and him are in Vegas. She wasn't feeling well, so Duane just drove over. We met Duane close to 20 years ago, him and his wife, Suk. And Duane you'd been out of the Air Force for a while, but we just hit it off right away. So he's a veteran. He did a career in the Air Force, and I'll let him tell you what he did. Here's what I love about this guy is a 20-year friendship, is that he's an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. We both survived 2008, which was tough. That was tough. That was tough, because we both had active businesses and everything else going on. But Duane goes back and remembers me back in my tool days when I was still buffing stuff and active in the shops and doing a lot of other things. But we go back a long ways. We have deep discussions, man. Political, non-political. Late last night, sitting in the living room, and just it was like old times, so it's pretty cool.
At least he gave me coffee.
That's exactly it. We got coffee this morning, and Chris, we're going to drink yours for you since you don't do coffee. We'll make sure to drink some extra ones.
Yeah,
for
you could have my pot.
Yeah, there you go. So hey, real quick, so Chris started something new. So how's the training going?
Not much in terms of training. I just started going to the gym for the first time ever. I've never been a gym guy, but I decided to try it. Last week was first week. I went a couple days. I was supposed to go again last night after our webinar with the Mafia, and I walked out of my my lovely little office here, and there was all sorts of chaos and hell going on because of kids. And before we knew it, another hour and a half went by, and we just never made it.
Right. I've learned something valuable. Go in the morning before the chaos happens.
Yeah. Well, 7 a.m. podcasts don't help either.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah. And then I send you that note, late. So it's cool. You keep at it. And if you want me to send you some workouts, I've got a couple great ones that make a big difference. Seriously, they'll really help you. Yeah.
Well, baby steps for now. I'm sticking to 3 machines there, all cardio stuff. My favorite has been the elliptical machine so far.
That's cool.
I like that one.
Well, and here's the deal: is you can set up there. Is Brittany around right now?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, good. You set up there, and you can see all the talent that's coming in and out of the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not that you look, but just in case, medically speaking, in case you have to do CPR, you got the way of the land going on, just in case medically. Remember that excuse, medically.
There you go.
So hey, Duane. So introduce yourself real quick, man.
Well, my name is Duane Hamilton. As he said, I am from Idaho, retired Air Force. Him and I did meet at a time that was a little bit different than the normal times. I was at the time with my brother in a property management / real estate business that we owned. Had been going great for many, many years, but it got to the point that we really couldn't keep both of us on the staff. And so I decided to go back out and work for somebody. Went through a DirecTV standpoint, and then went and became an industrial mechanic out at a cheese factory in Idaho, where I proudly cut the cheese.
That's it.
And
yep.
Yeah. But literally from, if you don't realize how much string cheese is eaten, we did between about 120 to 140,000 pounds of string cheese a day. Jeez. And that was a 24-hour, 365-day type environment that I was lucky enough to be on a 6 at night till 6 in the morning shift, and kind of tore me up. And I said when I went there originally, I wasn't going to continue to be working for somebody else. Somehow I had to get back into business.
And you did it.
And
you guys did it.
Yep, through my wife. At that time, she kept saying, well, it's pretty reasonable to do nails.
Yeah, and that's when we were all hanging out a lot. The girls had their nails done, and it was survival mode at that point. And today is paying the price with hardcore discipline. That's kind of and so Duane and I were talking last night, and his whole career, everything in 2008, we met, everything was good, right? And you know what? Here's the biggest thing: is we survived 2008 to grow bigger and better. Things are better than they ever have been now. Right. So you gotta, people that face hardships, just keep facing the hardships. It's discipline. So let's go back. Is that in the military, is discipline paid off? Because you're not an average guy, and you weren't the average airman. So tell us what 2 airframes did you primarily spend most of your career working on?
The main ones that I worked on was I was what they called environmental systems. So it was heating, air conditioning, pressurization, liquid oxygen, nitrogen on SR-71s and U2 aircraft. So it was an interesting career. We basically said we were stationed at Beale Air Force Base, but we went all over the world with the airplanes. When they moved, we moved.
Yep. UK, Japan.
Well, I was stationed over at UK. We opened up what they called the TR-1 program, which is a whole political reason why they called it a TR-1 instead of a U2. Just because they said they'd never build another U2 again. So they changed some of the airframe a little bit as far as wiring and stuff and renamed it. So Congress would make sure they would pay for it. And
that's an airframe that's ironically still in use today.
It is. And really, in all honesty, highly needed. You can have all the satellites you want, but you can't necessarily get them where you want them when you need them there.
That's exactly it. And so to think that aircraft was developed, in the 50s, right? And it came up through like a B-52 bomber. Who would have ever guessed that all these years later? But here's the deal: is we were up at the Museum of Flight, and they've got the CIA version of your SR-71.
SR-71, where you can actually sit in the actual
the cockpit. They got a cockpit, but the actual plane there is. I was sitting over the nose of it, and it's on display. And I was telling the guys about you, and it's pretty amazing to think. That hardware back when you were working on it. So So back then, I mean, when you're a young guy and all of a sudden, you get that call, you're working on the, the environmental systems and stuff. And that plane at the time there was a lot of secrecy to that airplane.
I think there probably still is a lot that even we wouldn't know about. Even though you work on the airplane, you see things that are there, you see other people that work on it, but they have a lot of individuals that they take the information and they go in with the information versus, somebody like myself that's out working on the aircraft. That some of the information we had would be considered secret, I guess, but it was more back then. It was more the actual sensors and systems in it that would tell you about the airplane that was more secret to us. And yet this day and age, it's like my rental car. It does more than that airplane probably would have done back then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you heard the SR-71 speed story the pilot talks about when he's coming over the ground check? Yeah, it's always fun. If you guys haven't seen and listened to that, listen to it. It talks about radio chatter and how all of the air traffic controllers sound the same. And everybody's always, and I've done it probably 20 times as you do, actual, ground speed check with your air traffic controller to see what your speed is. The Cessna comes in, he's 103 knots, or whatever, 103 true over ground. And then it comes up to where, a twin Baron or something like that comes in and asks for it. And he's 200. And then an F-18 pops in and, he's sitting at 600.
All bragging about
yeah. And then he says he was with the brand new crew chief or crew guy in the back. And he goes, right then and there, I knew that we were meant to be, because he says, right when I was going to push the mic, he pushes the mic and asks for a speed check. And then they say, we got you at 1,999 miles per hour over ground. And he goes, well, ground, I got us at an even 2,000, but that's okay. And it gets complete silent from that point on. But
nobody asked again.
No, that plane to work on that. And again, a lot of people that don't know it, the U2, when that thing flew, it's an adventure to land it, because they've got to say chase.
Well, you basically have to almost crash land it in a sense, because it's a flying glider.
Yeah.
And so getting those wings to come down is really tough. So they have what they call a chase, a chase car that counts them down, because they can't see below. It's basically a bicycle style, wheels.
Yeah.
And so
I've actually seen one land here at Van Nuys Airport. They would bring them in for air shows every once in a while, and those little bicycle type wheels on the wingtips. I think they would drop off when it would take off, right?
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's pretty. I've never gotten to see one. I've seen one in person. I've never seen one, take off or land. So that's pretty cool.
Well, we used to laugh about it because the Navy tried to use that aircraft for landing on, testing it on actual carriers.
No way.
And so we said, and they actually did. And we had the arrestor hook to grab that was built into the system. Still, it was in there the whole time we worked on it. But we used to joke about it all the time and said they had to stop doing it because they lost too many chase cars.
Oh, God, let's split up for that one. See how it is with him, But it's pretty cool. Is talk about, first off, discipline. Let's talk about discipline and friendship. You and I. I'm going to try not to get emotional. Yesterday marked the day, the second anniversary of my mom's losing my mom, and my mom loved you. You loved my mom. But discipline comes through friendship too.
It does.
It does. You've got to be disciplined to remain a friend. And
true friends are always friends.
They're always
under every circumstance.
Even when you have to chase me down to communicate, because my life is. He's sitting there yesterday. My phone's just going ping, 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 ping. And he's had those moments in his life. So military, the discipline paid off. You had a great career. Yeah. And fully retired now. Small business, when I met you, you guys were real active. You guys were just pumping it. And here's the deal is you'll say, I wouldn't call what you did. And even the struggles we had, those weren't failures. Those were growth modes, because your company's still
teaching.
There. It is. And it's discipline to stay calm and not freak out. It would have been really easy for you and Suk, or even any of us, millions of us, to freak out in 08 and just move on to something completely different and never go back to it. So So we're hanging out with you guys. Suke's lovely. She's my kid. Our kids all grew up together. So we watched, we watched the kids, go through high school and junior high and elementary school. And Darren was just a little wee one,
Yeah.
And so Suke, with Darren, all of our kids, but Darren with Suke sitting on her lap, and Suke is from Korea.
Oh yeah.
And so, she's got this spunk with her. You do not screw with Suke.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't.
I don't either.
But we've gone out and celebrated birthdays and everything. And you guys are just fun, but they're into doing nails, right? Her and Diane, and Suke took off after it and decided as a way to help survive the 08 is to start doing nails.
Yes.
And that kind of led into is that I always call it, we were talking last night, is your wife efforts and your vision. Is being an entrepreneur is your wife, had this survival mode going to go do something. And then you turned it into something completely different. And so kind of talk about your building that new business and more importantly, probably the discipline between partners, husband and wife, and get to that point.
Well, and it's interesting. You'll hear me say it if you ever come over to our salon and I'm there. You're going to hear me say that I learned more about nails than I should ever learn. But
hold on. So we go from SR-71s to fingernails, to cheese, cutting the cheese, and nails, into nails.
But it really what happened was when the economy turned, I looked at my brother and I said, one of us is going to survive in this real estate and the property management. You got a broker's license. You're better off in this than I am. And so as we left, my wife looked at me and said, well, doing nails is pretty easy to learn. I can go do this. And then she kind of had a rude awakening too, because it's a lot of study. It was a lot of different things she didn't expect. It wasn't just doing nails. You had to learn. She had to discipline herself to learn a lot of things in the industry as far as cleanliness and taking care of stuff. So it's just beyond, in any business, it's always going to be beyond just doing that item. You've got to learn beyond that. And a lot of people don't realize that. And she learned it real quick. And now if you come to our salon, which you have, you come in there, it's clean. And it's a demand that she demands on the people. But the difference is I saw a vision of business. I saw taking her skill, building her into teaching her more management skill to be able to run the salon, because I couldn't be there. But she learned to run the salon. And the first salon that we purchased it through the people that trained her to do nails. The individual there, the two individuals, they were really good at business, and they had a business model that I saw that I said, that'll work anywhere. And I took that business model and I said, I want to buy one from you, because it was already started that way. Well, my wife, through her efforts, built that in a 5-year period. She built it to where it looked like people climbing over each other. It was just so busy. And I looked at her and she goes, well, finally I'm going to get a paycheck. And I said, no, we're going to move. I'm going to build you a bigger one. And we built what I would consider to be probably the largest nail salon in the Northwest. I can't guarantee that because I haven't gone to every nail salon, but most of them are built really small. But we built it around clientele to give them space, give them comfort. We built a pedicure room that's totally separate from the actual nail area, so you can listen to music and stuff in the nail area, have a good chit chat, but you go in the pedicure room and you relax. And I built it that way with a future in mind, to where my wife honestly fought me all the way, because she didn't see the vision of where this could go. I see the vision of where it's going and where it's almost getting there to that point, to where now we have extra space. We're actually adding in esthetician work. We're adding in eyelashing work. So we're adding things into there now beyond what we originally dreamed we'd even do. But now it's to a point that we have to look at it more as a business, not just a salon.
Absolutely.
And that's where we get to that point. The discipline side of us now has to be, let's build other people to help us.
You got to get out of the way.
We do. We have to get out of the way, and we have to teach other people how they can help themselves in here, which is what I really love about any business. If you can help other people come along and they can actually become something along with it,
Absolutely.
their
Give
business,
opportunity.
their business is going to be great, and it helps our business. We
Ab-
get nothing unless we teach them.
Absolutely. A couple things that you said is there's always more details, there's always more when you start a business and you launch a business, or even, is we get into something new, is that since we brought Chris on, it's freed up so much mind energy. And we've been able to go places and do things that we really didn't think of before. PNS with Double Black, same way. And then Bob Phillips with PNS, I love this saying, is he always says, we've always got to try to get out of our own way. And I love that saying because we do so many times as entrepreneurs, we are the dam. We're what's slowing things down and pushing things out because we don't delegate very good.
Well, because like I said before, you and I talked about this last night. We sit back and look at it as, well, this is our baby, and we have to continue to control it, continue to run it. What you have to learn, in my mind, what you have to learn to do is to be able to step back and figure out. It's just like our manager. I looked at her straight up and I said, you are more of an asset to me not doing nails than you are
Absolutely.
to be doing nails, and I need to teach you how to do that.
To manage the business.
You manage it. We're going to pay you to manage it. You build that even further and further. That frees us up some time. If we want to go further with anything else, we can, or we can sit there and be a backup to help her.
Absolutely. So let scalability. That's the other thing I just wrote down right now as we're doing that is you mentioned it as scalability. You saw a business as being an entrepreneur and then being the military, any paramilitary organization where it's law enforcement, fire, EMS, military itself, is it teaches you command structure and it teaches you systems and processes. And that's what the military is all about.
Oh, sure.
It's systems,
chain of command.
Oh, chain of everything. Yeah, that's it. And so really, if you can get that into you and understand business it's no different. It's all systems and processes, but you've learned, as I've learned, and most of us that are entrepreneurs will learn, is you got to be able to, there's rules. And once you get really good and you're settled in, then you learn how to break those rules as an entrepreneur. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because there's boundaries when you first start because of knowledge and know-how and money. You don't have enough of it, right? You could always build a bigger salon. You could always go better, but you got to be able to pay the finance, pay the piper, so to say. But scalability, it's really cool. So, okay, I'm going to tell a quick story.
Okay.
So we're back up in Idaho. Darren's doing, before she became a hardcore teenager, she did a lot of mountaineering with me and orienteering. Matter of fact, it's funny because there's a compass sitting right here. But we go up, and she was born right at the base of the Rockies in Idaho, where we first lived when you met us. So she wanted to do a big mountain with me. So we went up and did Thompson Peak up in the Sawtooth Mountain Ranch above Redfish. And we missed, it was in October. We were up there for business. And we missed the summit by like 600 feet because there's a pretty significant snowstorm that came in. And we decided when we were trudging through about a foot of snow that we probably had no business going up to the peak,
No further.
I was going to hand me that helmet. Is that I was going to take, and this is one of my search and rescue helmets. These guys were going to come out looking for us if we kept going. So we decided, hey, you know what? Let's turn back and enjoy the view. We'd seen elk, we'd seen moose, we'd seen which I had never seen. Couldn't tell you it was a grizzly for sure, but it sure looked like one from a distance, and I'm glad it was from a distance. So we're sitting there and we're on this. I'll never forget it. We're down to about 9,000 feet, and we're enjoying the view. It's snowing lightly, and she looks at me and she goes, "Dad, we're sitting here. We did some mountaineering. I'm figuring tomorrow we go to Duane and Sook's, and we get pedicures, manicures, pedicures." Yep. And I went, "Let's go." And she goes, "Really?" And I went, "Yeah." And she goes, "Have you ever done that?" And I said, "Nope." Let me tell you, I went into their salon. The first thing that happened, I walked in. What is Disneyland? Walt Disney set it up that it's an experience. He knew that he had to take and entertain people, but engage people and make it the friendliest place on earth. You guys created an experience. When you walk in there, it was like, I was like, damn. When I'm getting my, what do they call them? What's the short term? Mani Penny or
Matty Petty?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. So
we'll teach you the term.
yeah, I'm sitting there and I don't like my feet touched, like by nothing. Man, those girls could have done whatever they wanted to my feet, but then they were blown away because the search and rescue, the amount of callousing that's on my feet. Not gross. I keep them pretty clean, but they're like, "Hey, what's this hump back here?" And I said, "That don't take that off. That took years to build, man. That keeps my boots on." But it was such a cool experience that I wanted to go back again and again and again. Now we did go back. It wasn't the same because you guys have built such a, somewhere else. It was, what's that?
Clientele base.
Well, it was just your guys' experience. When we came back here. Here we are in California. We couldn't find the same level of experience.
Right.
To your point, in the Pacific Northwest, that you guys, it wasn't just the size, it was the cleanliness, it was the environment, it was the lack of smells. It was a very nurturing experience. And for somebody that never had done that, and kind of a macho dude, for me to feel that way, the women or people, the professionals that go in there are used to it, had to be blown away, because that was just, it was mind-boggling how cool it was.
And one of the things is it created a big challenge for us, but it's a good challenge. We literally, most of our nail technicians are booked out 3 to 4 weeks in advance. So they're staying busy constantly. The challenge is new customers, trying to get them in. And we tell them, once we get you in, stay on a steady schedule with it. And so we keep that on that steady schedule. And looking at your business, it's kind of the same thing.
Absolutely.
You want to keep the cars coming in. You want to keep things going on. So you work on rebuilding your clientele. You're not trying to get new clientele all the time. You're trying to keep the good ones staying with you. And then as you have extra time, you build new clientele into it.
Did you guys just hear that? Service the existing. Listen, you'll get to a point to where if you just service fewer better, and you service I've preached that, brother. It's so good to hear somebody from another industry. Service those people you got. You won't need too many new clients.
No, and what's interesting is that literally people are begging to get into us, to where our girls, if they're sick one day, it makes it tough because now they're out of schedule. Luckily, with our nail technicians we have, most of them will say, "Hey, I'm going to come in on a Sunday and take care of you, or a Monday." And the clients love that even more than anything, because like, they took care of me. And then they just want to make sure they're coming back. And so that the return clientele is critical.
Yep. So let's talk about for a second. A lot of people they hear you guys have done very well. You're away from your business right now. It's being managed. It's making you money. And that's, I can't remember. I think it was, gosh, dang it. I don't even know who it was. Probably Warren Buffett said that, that you're a proper entrepreneur when your company is making money while you sleep. And while you guys aren't open 24/7, my point to saying that is you're away from your business and still making money.
Well, I woke up this morning and my phone was already telling me people were in the salon.
How cool is that?
It truly, you can build, and I don't care what industry you're in. It's my dad was a vice president of Albertsons Bakeries. It's the same thing. Joe Albertsons didn't build that business on one person. He literally looked at it and he said straight out, and as kids he used to tell us, he says, "I'd rather sell one piece of gum to 1,000 people for a cheap price that they enjoy than to sell an expensive piece of gum to one person."
Yeah. Well, because repetition and everything
you
else.
lose that one person.
So now a lot of people might not know what that Albertsons Bakery is. Albertsons Supermarkets were founded in right there in Boise. And so your dad was a big part of that back in the building stage when Joe Albertsons Supermarket. Remember that little?
Yes, I remember.
Chris, do you remember that? You might be too young.
The bakery department was my dad's.
Wow, that's unreal. So, okay, here's the tie-in. Guess where Chris is moving here in the next, as soon as his wife gets her credentials.
So Boise.
Trying. That's the plan.
He's fallen in love with it. And so, and it's funny because our team, we've got such a strong team influence up there, and we've got Sydney's up there, she's in the foothills where we remember when we were looking up at, what's our development called? Hidden Springs. When we looked at that one house before and so it was funny because we went up there. Do you know what that house is worth now?
Oh, way too
Oh
much.
my God. It's like 1.3 million. I'm like, Holy crud, man. That's crazy. So let's get back to this a little bit. So bigger growth. You didn't give up your day job. I talked a lot about this, so don't be shy. You kept the discipline there. Diane, and a lot of people don't realize, Diane, I'd come home from detailing in the early days from being mobile, and then in the latter, a couple of 3-4 years in from the shop, I'd get home about 4:30, and Diane would go wait tables. And you guys remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
We met you. You kept your day job, and
it wasn't a day job; it was a night.
It was an overnight job. You kept you kept your main hustle for. I remember kind of getting on you, hey, dude, when are you gonna get rid of that thing? When are you gonna, because it kills you, right? It kind of sucks your soul out of you, The
whole thing when we moved, when we talk about, the whole thing is on hardcore discipline. We're talking about this. The whole thing that happened to me was I worked from Sunday night through Wednesday night when we opened the new salon, because Suk had to be on her table. So Tuesday and Wednesday, she wasn't on her table. She ran the front of the salon because it was so big. You couldn't do it without. I had to come in on Thursday morning,
take over
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday mornings. We did that for
after working
2 years.
After working 12-hour shifts.
Yeah, I'd come home, get about 2-3 hours sleep. I'd go in and start answering phones. I'd go from cutting cheese to talking to people about nails.
Oh, man.
And it, like I said, but she couldn't have done it herself.
No.
So it was a team effort. And in any business, if you're a husband and wife, a partnership of any sort, it's got to be a team effort. It can't be one-sided. Everybody has to be there to help. And
that's pretty cool. So we've talked about it a lot, and you've always been this way is your staff, is building people up is a huge part of your culture, giving them opportunity to take and go from $15 an hour to, $20, $25 an hour. How important is it to build a lot of people want to, when they start a business, they want to keep people down. Hey, you're going to do this and this. Man, I think we share a passion in that we want to see people grow with opportunity.
This takes me back to the military again. I always learned in the military as being a supervisor. I found the ones that wanted to learn. I found the ones that could be good, and I wanted to take them along with me because they made me look good. And as I built them, they were able to help me. If I went up, I took them along with me, because those were the ones, one, you could trust, and the other is you get. I mean, I looked at it even yesterday. We stood out there with the horses yesterday.
Yeah. Yep.
And I look at the way the horses react. They follow you because you take care of them.
Yeah.
And as you go out and do these things with people, if you can build somebody up, they'll give you the trust, long enough trust to build them to where they need to be. They're going to be as successful or more successful. I used to think people in the military hated me the way I trained them and taught them. And then now through Facebook and everything else, I've had many of them come back and thank me for being their trainer, because I taught them more than they thought they'd ever learn. And they're still using it.
Absolutely.
It's gone on for their whole life. And so that made me feel good, because that's kind of always been my thing. I look at people as more family than friends or workers.
It's funny, because on the air side of the military is that I was at something, and I remember I'm back to being at a joint operation base to where it's all branches. We got everybody there. And it's funny because I was talking to an Air Force guy one day, and they said, he was an officer, and he's telling me, he goes, we've really gone to where when it's possible in these specialty teams to where it's relationships before rank, to where we really put a lot into the rank structure is still very, very, I mean, it's there, right? Your military bearing, your command, all that's there, but they feel it's very important to build up those relationships.
That was my last job in the Air Force, was an instructor teaching quality Air Force.
Really?
And we were teaching every rank. We were teaching, find the person at the lowest rank, help them, first of all, learn what they need to know, then listen to what they have to say, because that's going to tell you how you can guide the whole rank system, because a new person sees things you don't see.
Oh yeah. I had a colonel explain this, and it was online. I saw this, and the guy's a full bird colonel, right? And this is, I don't care if you've got one person in your organization or you've got a big operation. Is he explained it like this? He says, the structure is like a tree. And he says, and if you imagine the big tree, is that the leadership is the top monkey up at the top of the tree. And then there's all these monkeys all the way down to the ground level. And he says, well, as the top monkey up at the top, you look down, you see all these smiling monkeys that want to make you happy. And you see all these smiles and all these smiles. He says, but you know what happens with the monkey at the bottom? When they look up, you see a lot of monkey ass.
Yep.
And he says, a lot of times leadership needs to come down to the bottom of that tree, because you see smiles pointing up, but you see a lot of ass from the bottom up. And you got to take the time to see what the people at the bottom floor are looking at. And a lot of times it's not smiles, it's ass.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that was a great way of putting it, because we don't travel up and down that leadership tree much. We get at the top and, we listen to it and, or see it. And a lot of times we don't hear the facts even if you're one person, you don't hear the facts, So Chris, how much monkey ass do you
I was just thinking about that.
Okay, shut up. We don't want to talk about that right now. But it's seriously, and you think about the discipline, and you don't have to be in the military to get discipline. Hardcore discipline is I think part of it is that it's the way you're brought up, and then a lot of it's in yourself of making it happen. As Chris is going through it right now with working out. I think working out and training is one of the fundamental ways to get yourself disciplined. It comes out to why does the military so hardcore on having new recruits make their bed the right way?
Oh, well,
discipline.
6x6.
Yeah.
Kids folding your underwear 6x6.
That's exactly
they measure it. And if it ain't right, they throw it and make you do it again.
That's exactly it.
It teaches several things. Chain of command.
Yep.
Who's your boss?
Yeah.
But I learned over the years in the military, being a boss is not always the best thing.
No.
Being part of the team is a huge thing. And I've never honestly, I've always worked for places that they always say, oh, we're a team environment, but it's just words. And it's like in our nail salon, we bring a new nail technician in. Our team literally grabs that individual, helps and guides them, shows them what to do.
That's huge.
And they feel as part of the team. And the ones that don't feel like they want to be part of that team, they don't last. The ones that become part of that team, they're still there. We've got nail technicians, which is unheard of, going into 4.5 years with us. It's not normal. They normally last. They go get their own business, or they go do something else.
Absolutely, they move on.
And they're not. They stay because of the team. They feel comfortable with the team.
Well, and you've created such a great environment there. It's hard to beat. And here's the other thing: is that when you create that, that environment, and you create a cool place to work, and you're not screaming at people, you're not carrying on, you're not being an ass, you're not, but yet you give them opportunity.
You got to remember, Sue.
Yeah, she's pretty hardcore. I'm scared to death of her. She's this big, but I swear to God, man, she raises her voice. I stand straight up, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, man, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. She is scary. I've seen her carry around. We'd be out dancing or something like that. Somebody get a little inappropriate, man. She'd light them up. We just sit back and go, okay, watch this. Here it comes. Wait for it. This poor guy's gonna get something that he has no idea what he's gonna get.
You need another shot.
That's exactly it. And so, let's go into this is wrapping it up, is one piece of advice for people building their empires, big or small. What would you leave with them today?
I honestly would say that you would want to always, big or small, always look at it. One is going to be big. You've got to envision the future as that's going to be big, and you better plan for it to be big, or you're going to be behind the curve. So, and I use it as the example I told you last night. Phone system in a nail salon, unheard of. Couple of computers up front for people to use, unheard of. They all do it on their phones and everything. We fought it all the way, and I said, I'm doing it. And I did it. And now everybody sits back and goes, how could we do it without it? Plan for the future. Bring people along with you that, one, you can trust and that you enjoy being around, because as you get big, you're going to want to spend time with them.
I dig it.
And you don't want to be with people you don't enjoy spending time with, but you want to train, teach, and give them all your knowledge. Give them everything, because as you give them that knowledge, it's just going to help you in the future.
So that's really sound advice. And I think everything in business, because of, again, my background of growing up, and I never envisioned me being tiny. and I never envisioned me being a failure. I always, but here's the problem with me that I had. I also didn't ever envision me being at the highest level because I didn't think I deserved it.
No, you deserve it.
Well, but I didn't think that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't think that. I always thought that I wasn't going to be the smartest guy there. But I never even though thinking that, I knew I wasn't going to be. Here's the deal. I knew I'd be in the heavyweight division. I just didn't know if I could beat Mike Tyson. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
I thought I could get to that level without beating him, but guess what? I still don't think I could beat Mike Tyson. If I got in the ring with that dude, I'd let him hit me just to get the money out of it, but I'd want him to put me out of my misery. Like, actually, that's not true. I don't think either one of us. I think we'd fight back. You'd toy with us, but
we don't know anything but fighting.
No, yeah, it's true.
Go back to 2008.
So I know the question is going to come up, and you know what? I've got a challenge right now is that when Chris and I are back up in Idaho, and it's going to happen probably before the end of the year, we're going to go get our nails done, Chris.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh, look, dude, have you ever had a manicure or pedicure?
No.
I'm telling you what. Once you have it.
I'm going to explain something to you about a pedicure at least.
Yep.
If you go talk to a podiatrist, they're going to tell men need pedicures worse than women because we're always on our feet. We're always on concrete floors. We're always working hard. We got boots on and everything else. Your feet is literally the start of where all your nerve endings go. And that actually damages you by not getting them.
Absolutely. So, it's amazing. It's a cool experience. So, hey, guys. Duane, thanks, buddy.
You're
this
welcome.
Was pretty cool. What an honor. So, hey, guys, smash that like button. Make sure to comment. And if you're on our YouTube channel, subscribe. Share this if you've got something out of it. It's not that often that we get somebody, an SR-71 or U2 spy plane dude that's been real, and especially one of my really, 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 really good friends. So it's been.
Hey, could I put you on the spot real quick though? Do you have a cool SR-71 or U2 story you can share with us?
I probably got several of them. I don't know how many I can share, but I'll give you a couple. I'll give you an example of when we took a U2 aircraft down to Puerto Rico, and we went down with what we called risk kits that held the toolboxes inside of them, and we went down with the risk kits completely empty, but the toolboxes were all over the aircraft going down on a C5. And when I got down there, I asked our commanding officer, I says, why are these things empty? And he said, well, you'll see when we go back. He said, they won't be empty. Best rum you can buy is down there. So like I said, military. And again, because you can take so much along anyway, even on a commercial airplane. So everybody is able to bring a couple bottles of rum and stuff back. So we went to the rum factory and saw it. One neat thing that they told me at the rum factory is if you look at it, it looks like a bat on the rum.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. They call them memes down there that bite you. They're little gnats, but when you look at them under a microscope, they look like a bat.
And it's a gnat.
And it's a what they call memes. They bite you. They're
damn.
So, but like I said, they've obviously transformed it into the bat is the big thing.
Absolutely.
But they tell us the story down there that it's them little things that bite you. I guess the rum's supposed to do the same.
I'll be damn. Wow. That's pretty cool. So you guys go down there, official SR-71 team, and then load up the toolboxes with rum.
Yeah, we were there with the U2 on that one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's SR-71. We just launched it out of Beale and let it go over there on its own and then come back in a couple hours. So.
I heard, I will finish with this. I got to meet a couple through my adventures at Oshkosh. I was doing that back in the day when we met. I was real active with Oshkosh and going and speaking. And I met a couple SR-71 drivers. And it was pretty cool because they brought one in at one of the 100th anniversary. So 2003 was the 100th anniversary of flight. And they had one there, and I met the driver. I'd met him before, and we're talking, and they had a crew down there, maintenance crew, doing some work on it. And I got to go down there, and I was talking with them, and I said, man, what's all the buckets? And he goes, well, this thing, he says, it doesn't leak. It marks its territory.
Yeah.
And he says, when an SR-71 comes in, and he says a lot of people say it leaks. It's not leaking. It's like a dog. It's marking its territory.
Pretty much.
It's telling the ground that the SR-71 was in the room, and it's leaving everything on the ground. But that thing, I mean, it's expansion and contraction and everything
Well,
else.
that's what people don't understand. A lot of people, if you don't know anything about the SR-71, basically it was a leaking pig on the ground when it had fuel on it. But as soon as it got up in the air, the designers had to design it around that, because when it goes as fast as it would go and as hot as it would get, it would expand the panels that would close up that fuel so it didn't leak no more.
Wow.
So when it took off, it hit a KC-135, fueled up again, even though it was fueled on the ground. They fueled up again. That way, when it got to speed, it would seal. They'd do their mission. They'd come back. It lands. When it finally cools down, it starts leaking any of that fuel out again that they have left. So
It's pretty cool.
if they're flying all the time, it doesn't do that, because the sealant will last. But a lot of them would sit on the ground all the time. But if they were deployed somewhere, they didn't leak as much, because they were flying like 2 airplanes. They'd fly one day, one the next. They would be flying them all the time, so they didn't leak as bad.
It's mind-boggling what goes into that stuff. But
Man,
our friend Evan up at the Museum of Flight posted a picture the other day. He got to go in there, and they were cleaning up the cockpit, so he got to be in the cockpit for a little while, making sure it was all clean and tidy. I think their annual little cleanup job.
Yeah, I'd go up for free on that one.
Yeah, no, they're amazing airplanes. They really were. I mean, the technology and where it came from and how quickly they designed that just sitting down in a meeting. Kelly Johnson was just, I mean, he was amazing as an engineer.
That came out of Skunk Works, right? That's
Yes.
old Skunk Works.
Mhm.
Yeah. Diane was a security analyst with Skunk Works for a bit when we first got together. So, well, hey, everybody, I take what's that?
Cool stuff.
It was. Well, Duane, thanks, buddy.
Oh, you're
It's always a
welcome.
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
So we're going to go tap off on some SR-71 coffee, aka Swirl Killer, and it's fast. It's real fast. So Chris, hey, thanks a lot, buddy. Good. Go to the gym. Go train this morning, bud. And
There you go. All right.
we'll catch up. And for those Mafia members, we'll see you at the Jersey Mafia weekend this weekend, and I'll be posting some pictures of this lovely little granddaughter of ours. And pretty cool. And isn't it amazing for the young guys listening how quick it went by, and how you go from single to dad to all of a sudden I look at it and I love my age. I think you're the same way. I don't mind being my age at all. I think it's cool. I've earned all this shit.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I'm surprised I'm still here.
Yeah, me too. And it all those times I hear hold my beer, you know. Well, with me it was my iced tea, because I don't, you know, kind of been a wimp. Hey, I had a sip of whiskey the other day. It was peanut butter whiskey.
Peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah, it was flavored like peanut butter. It was one of the first alcohols I've really enjoyed. It was like, had a cigar with it and sipped it, and then my buddy says, you know, that's a shot. You're supposed to take the shot, and that shot's lasts you an hour. And I was like, oh.
I'm savoring.
Yeah, I'm savoring it. I'm enjoying it with a cigar. So, well, everybody, hey, thanks for tuning in. Sorry for the off day, but we did not want to miss it, especially with this guy being here. And so, Chris, have a good day, and you guys enjoy. Be good to each other. And again, subscribe, hit it, like it. Oh, I can't wait, dude. Can you imagine how spoiled she's going to be?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that kid. Oh, I can't wait, man. I'm going to I mean, you know, hopefully our kids, when my mom, we had a grandparent rule. There was no rules. Whatever, as long as as the grandparents didn't do anything that the kids could get hurt, there was no rule. So I'd wake up mornings when my mom was staying with us, and the kids would all be out there eating this 5-layer chocolate cake on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. for breakfast. And we never got upset because there's no rules, because, you know, they weren't around. She wasn't around them every single day. So we just said, so hopefully we get the same treatment with our kids. We just get,
you're going to do it anyway.
Oh, I will. I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, and if they don't, here's the deal. This is a warning to the kids. If you don't, it's going to be chocolate cake with Red Bull right before you pick them up.
Yeah.
So, you know, play nice, because if not, the Red Bull's coming out. That'd be cool.
This one's a little young for chocolate cake right now, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit.
Not for long. Not for long. You know, it's funny because Delaney, her first birthday party, we held it even though we were in Idaho. We came down here because, you know, we wanted my mom, and at that time my grandma was still around, and Delaney got a cake, you know, for her first birthday, right? And she got so covered in icing. There's a picture of me washing her in a bowl, in a big like salad bowl. And that's how small she was, because she was a small baby. And it's funny to think that, because to me it just seems like yesterday, and now she's got a kid.
I tell people all the time when they have their babies, I look at them straight out and I said, and I did it with yours, I said, just remember next week they're getting their driver's license.
That's exactly
and then
it.
They're starting college and they laugh and everything else. I said, I'm not joking.
No.
And that's how fast it goes.
It happens.
You know,
It happens.
then when they start getting their driver's license, nice with Facebook, I can just look at them and say, I told you they're getting it.
That's exactly it. Well, hey, you guys take care of yourself, man. We're going to get out of here. He's got to get back to Vegas. Chris, have a good day.
My grandkids.
That's it.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
See ya.